Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today is a beautiful Thursday, and we've got to dive deep into the absolute madness happening in Port Charles right now. Grab your coffee, grab a snack, and settle in, because we have a lot of ground to cover, and I am bursting with thoughts on it. I cannot believe they are doing this. I am sitting here, typing furiously after rewatching the latest episodes, and my mind is literally blown. I need to react first, because I just have to get this out of my system before I explode. Jason is back in town, and he is straight up ghosting Britt Westbourne. I mean, are you kidding me right now? After everything they went through? After the dramatic declarations of love? After the promises? I am pacing my living room just thinking about the absolute audacity of this storyline, but at the same time, my brain is screaming that it actually makes perfect, devastating sense. Let's just rewind for a second, because I feel like I'm taking crazy pills and I need to lay out exactly why this is so insane, yet weirdly logical. Remember the pier? Remember that dark, chaotic nightmare of a night where Jason literally threw his entire freedom away? He took the fall for Rocco Falconeri shooting WSB director Ross Cullen. But why was he even there in the first place? Because he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, trying to save Britt for the umpteenth time. If he hadn't been so hyper-focused on playing her personal bodyguard, he wouldn't have been anywhere near that pier when the gun went off. If Jason hadn't been playing Captain Save-A-Doctor, he wouldn't have been hauled off to a WSB black site in Jakarta, Indonesia. He wouldn't have been subjected to whatever psychological and physical torture they put him through in that cell. So, is his ghosting born out of pure, unadulterated resentment for his WSB imprisonment? It really makes you wonder what was going through his head in the dark. General Hospital spoilers hint that Jason will ghost Britt Westbourne when he returns to town, and honestly, a huge part of me thinks it is because he associates her with the loss of his freedom. And look, I know Jason doesn't resent Rocco Falconeri. He is a protector by nature, and he certainly doesn't regret taking the fall for a young teen who was just trying to protect him from a corrupt WSB director. But he absolutely hates the predicament he was placed in. He hates that his life was ripped away again, and whether it's fair or not, Britt is inextricably linked to that trauma. She is the reason he was on that pier. The domino effect of her drama is what led to him being locked in a cage halfway across the world. Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, back to the point. Let's talk about the deep, complicated history here, because we cannot ignore the elephant in the room regarding Jason and Britt's relationship dynamic. I've been watching this show for years, and this is exactly the kind of messy character writing that drives me crazy, but keeps me hooked. When Britt first returned to Port Charles, her biggest, most valid point of contention regarding a reunion with Jason was that he never prioritized her. It was the ultimate roadblock in their romance. She felt that Sonny Corinthos and Carly always came before her. And she wasn't wrong. Am I the only one who remembers how frustrating that was? The mob and the Corinthos family were Jason's true spouses for decades. Britt was so tired of being the runner-up in Jason's life, so much so that Jason actually worked overtime to prove his devotion to her. He practically broke his own character mold to show her that she mattered. He was so desperate to prove his loyalty that he was willing to do the unthinkable. He was willing to leave his own son, Danny, behind so that he could go on the run and protect Britt. At the time, I was screaming at my television screen, like, Jason, what are you doing? You are a father. Initially, when Britt and Jason were going to skip town, he justified it by believing that it was only for a few. He thought he could outsmart the WSB, keep Britt safe, and then waltz right back into Danny's life like nothing happened. But being hauled away by the WSB brought a terrifying, brutal reality check. It proved that even when Jason, the supposedly invincible enforcer of Port Charles, plans things to a T, they can always go horribly awry. The Jakarta prison broke his illusions. It was the ultimate wake-up call that a life of danger is a life of guaranteed loss. He realized that his arrogance and thinking he could control the WSB fallout was exactly what cost him. And this brings me to the most heartbreaking, gut-wrenching part of this entire storyline. Danny, we have to remember the absolute tragedy that this kid has endured. Sam McCall is gone. We all remember the horror when Cyrus killed Sam and Dex. That trauma is permanently etched into Danny's soul. He doesn't have a mother anymore. Jason is his only living parent. Let that sink in. Jason is all this grieving teenager has left in the world. When you look at it through that lens, Jason's past reckless decision to go on the run with Britt wasn't just romantic. It was borderline negligent. He got in way too deep with Britt's drama, and in his desperate need to save her, he got completely lost on the path of what's really important, his grieving, vulnerable son. How could he even consider leaving a motherless child behind to play spy games across the globe? It makes my blood boil just thinking about it. It was more than reckless for Jason to decide to abandon his kid for a romance, especially a romance steeped in international espionage and WSB hit squad. His imprisonment might have been the exact wake-up call he needed to realize that he cannot be a mob enforcer, a WSB target's boyfriend, and a good father all at the same time. Something had to give. Jason may want to leave a life of danger behind for good, and he's already stated that Danny will be his top and seemingly only priority moving forward. So, Jason returns to Port Charles from Jakarta. He steps off that plane, completely changed by his trauma, and what is the very first thing he does? He goes straight to see Danny. He doesn't go to Sonny's penthouse to check on the cartel. He doesn't go to Carly's to debrief about the WSB. He goes straight to the Quartermain boathouse and holds his boy. That scene broke me in the best way possible. And then, they just leave. The two immediately left town for a father-son getaway without Jason notifying anyone. Well, almost anyone. Tracy Quartermain just happened to be in the vicinity and saw them. And honestly, I loved that. Tracy, seeing Jason finally act like a real father, is exactly the kind of poetic justice this show excels at. Tracy knows better than anyone how the mob destroys families, so for her to witness Jason choosing Danny over everything else was a profound moment. That silent departure was a true, undeniable testament to Jason's renewed commitment to Danny. It was him saying, nothing else matters. Not the mob, not the WSB, not my romantic life. Just my son. And as a fan who has watched Jason fail at fatherhood so many times over the decades, I am so here for it. I know some people are mad that he didn't announce his return to the whole town, but this was about Danny. It was always supposed to be about Danny. But now, they are set to come back. General Hospital spoilers for the week of July 27 to 31 suggest that Jason and Danny will return from their getaway as the weekend hits, and Jason will make his rounds in Port Charles. He is going to reunite with his friends and family. He's going to have those sweet, emotional moments with Carly and Sonny, probably setting some massive boundaries with the mob in the process. But what about Britt? Ghosted. Completely, utterly ghosted. Am I the only one who feels a little bad for her, even while totally agreeing with Jason's logic? Jason may just want to avoid Britt in general, as he believes getting involved with her on any level will only drag him down when he needs to focus solely on Danny. He knows that Britt is a magnet for chaos, and right now, Danny needs stability more than he needs breath in his life. Think about the psychology here. Jason knows that if he sees Britt, if he looks into her eyes, he might get pulled back in. He might feel that overwhelming urge to protect her, and he knows that if he does that, he is failing Danny. So he is taking the coward's way out, but also the most protective way out. Total avoidance. He is cutting the cord cleanly because he doesn't trust himself to be around her without slipping back into his old savior habit. I know some people are loving this, especially the hardcore Jason as a loner fans, but personally, I'm torn. I loved their chemistry. Remember when they tried this kind of angsty separation with other characters? Yeah, it didn't work then either, because the unresolved tension just lingers and makes every scene awkward. But Jason is resolute. He is drawing a hard line in the sand, and unfortunately for Britt, she's on the wrong side of it. And what is Britt going to do? General Hospital spoilers suggest all arrows point to the idea that Jason and Britt won't reunite anytime soon. At first, it is absolutely going to bother her. The Britch is going to be furious, hurt, and probably lash out at everyone in a 10-mile radius. Who wouldn't be? She just got cleared of her fake Huntington's disease, she survived being hunted in Tortola, and now the man who swore he loved her is ignoring her existence? It's a tragic end to a beautiful, messy romance. Britt finally thought she found a man who would put her first, and ironically, he is finally putting someone else first, but it's his son, not the mob. That has to sting in a very specific, complicated way. She can't even be mad that he's choosing Danny, because any decent human being knows that a grieving child comes first. But she can be mad about the ghosting. She deserves a conversation, at the very least. But honestly, I think after some weeks, she will move on. Britt is a survivor. She has rebuilt her life from scratch before, and she will do it again. She will probably throw herself into her medical career, maybe clash some more with that new doctor Tristan Roberts, and eventually realize that she and Jason were just a beautiful casualty. They loved each other, but the timing and the baggage were just too toxic. I'm kind of dreading the actual scenes where she realizes he's actively avoiding her, because the heartbreak is going to be palpable through the screen. Kelly Thibault is going to act the absolute house down when Britt realizes she has been abandoned again. But at the same time, I am so incredibly ready for Dad Jason. We've waited years to see Jason truly put his children before the Corinthos cartel and his own tragic love life. So yeah, pour one out for Jason and Britt, because that ship has officially sunk, and honestly, it's for the best. Jason got his wake-up call in Jakarta, and Danny is finally getting the father he deserves. I just hope Britt finds someone who doesn't come with international hit squads and mob wars attached to their hip. What do you guys think? Let me know, because I'm going to be obsessing over this all week.